Welcome back to Official AK MMA. Today we're going to be breaking down Holloway versus Porier. The Diamond is finally retiring. Wheezy Lil Wayne is walking him out in UFC Louisiana. Sorry for the late breakdown. I think this card is very hard to predict. I have no underdogs, which is extremely rare. Actually, maybe one. We shall see. Now, to quickly recap last week, in total, I had a 17-fight win streak when it came to predictions. However, I lost the main event, and I picked Chitty over Matthews, so we got two wrong. Hopefully, we can get back to the streak. All right, now, looking into the card, first fight of the night, we have Carly Judice versus Nicole Cagliari. Now, I do not know much about these two, but after doing research, Carly is 5'7", Nicole is 5'3". Carly has a 68-inch reach, and Nicole has a 62-inch. And Carly got a knockout in her last fight via head kick. And I'm pretty sure 80% of her wins, although she only has 4, are by finish. I'm going to pick Carly. I do not think that Nicole will be able to get her grappling off as much as she will need to win this fight. Carly is much better on the feet. If she can defend 2 takedowns, she'll take the fight easily by points. Maybe she'll get another finish. Who knows? Yeah, I'm going to go with Carly. Maybe via decision. We'll see if she gets a knockout. Honestly, a knockout is possible. All right, moving up the card, we have Jackson McVeigh, the Moose, versus Bruno, the Hulk Ferreira, sorry, for all the Brazilian people out there. And when it comes to this fight, Jackson was supposed to be on the same card that I went to, which was O'Malley versus Merab 2. His opponent pulled out or missed weight. Maybe he was booked against someone else, but I don't think so. So he finally gets his debut. The UFC promised him a fight, and who does he get? He gets the Hulk. Although Jackson McVeigh is much taller, standing at 6'4", longer reach. He has a Muay Thai stance. He is not battle-tested at all. So Bruno knocked out Gregory Robocop and recently had a very close fight against that German Dagestani. Can't remember his name. Don't know why. Same guy that Sean Strickland jabbed out of his mind. But his fight IQ was low. However, in this fight, Jackson McVeigh keeps his head up and back when he's fighting in that Muay Thai stance. I think this is a massive step up. I'm very confident in picking Bruno Ferreira by knockout. I think the fridge build, he gets inside, connects on a short hook or an uppercut, and finishes Jackson McVeigh, who is probably a little bit too green. Although his leg reach, oh my God, insane. Although that Muay Thai stance, Bruno could also grapple here. I don't know. I think it's very similar to that fight 5 or 6 months ago with the capoeira fighter Aleski dos Santos when he butchered some undefeated guy who was making his debut. I no longer see an undefeated record as unstoppable. That is not a thing. All right, so I'm going with Bruno Ferreira by knockout. Moving up, we have Ryan, 0 IQ, definitely not Superman, probably still never training span, against Lucas Brzeski, who did defeat Walter Walker, which was my best pick on the last card. I had him by sub, by the way, regardless. Lucas is terrible, but Ryan Spann is also terrible. Picking this fight is I'm going against everything I stand for. I'm picking Ryan Spann to win by finish. Lucas is just that bad. So Ryan had to fight Waldo just keeps finding a way to win. He's like Lerone Murphy of the heavyweight division, keeps finding a way to win. And he found a way to beat Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann fought terribly. He has all the skills and tools, especially at heavyweight, but just was throwing the stupidest punches ever. However, I can't pick against him here because Lucas is that bad. Lucas is still shorter. Reach is almost the same, but 3-rounder. Ryan genetically should just be able to win this fight. I'm going to go by finish, submission, or TKO. I think Ryan Spann gets lucky and connects on a punch against Lucas, who is just inferior. Although Lucas could do it, Ryan Spann fights that stupid. I can't believe I'm picking Ryan Spann, but we're picking him by finish. All right, moving up the card, we have Mr. Draws every single fight, Jimmy Crute against, and he also retired, but against Marcin, connects a question mark kick in the pocket. Prachnau. Now, for the longest time, I was going with Prachniow here. Pretty good odds. It doesn't say here, but I'm pretty sure he's like plus 250, plus 270. However, I at the last second changed my, and he's striking with a lot of good people. Even though he's losing fights, he's still doing good in the striking. And Jimmy Crute sucks at striking. But at the last second, I switched my pick because Jimmy Crute in previous fights, recent fights, has been going to the wrestling. And I think that's his path to victory here. Marcin gets taken down way too easily, stays on bottom. So I think Jimmy Crute is going to win at least 2 rounds here by suffocating Marcin. Jimmy Crute by submission or decision is my official pick here. Jimmy Crute, he's a lot younger too. I think he's 9 years younger. I'm definitely going to go with Jimmy Crute, but I switched my pick. I think the wrestling will help him out. Moving up the card, we have my guy, Islam Dulatov, mogging Adam Fugit in this screenshot here, and he's going to mog him in the fight. Now, Adam Fugit is known for being decent, able to last. He's very durable. However, Dulatov has been training his ass off. He has so much hype behind him. He has a photo shoot on Monday. He's taller, stronger. Man, it says his record's 1-0, but it's not. I see a finish here. I'm going by knockout. I think Islam is just going to pour it on, and Fugit's not going to know what to do, especially considering Dulatov is 2 inches taller. I 100% see Dulatov finishing this fight. I'm going to go by knockout, maybe round 1. I think Dulatov, he landed 50 strikes or more in that Contender Series fight and just never gave up. It seems like he has a good chin, decent grappling, understanding at least. And Fugit's been getting hit. I know he's able to withstand a good amount of punishment, but I don't see it happening here. I've been hyped about Dulatov. I'm a big Contender Series guy. I think Dulatov is going to get a knockout in the first 2 rounds. I love Dulatov. Speaking of prospects, moving up, these 2 right here are 2 of my favorite prospects. I think I'm going to do a video on my favorite prospects for each division, but these 2, man, I think Atiba Gauthier has the best genetics I've ever seen. Maybe except for Yoel, because Yoel was like 40. But that dude was a Cuban science experiment. But yeah, so when it comes to Atiba Gauthier, I don't think he's 6'4", but dude, middleweight, his build, short torso, long legs, long arms, genetic freak. And they're listing him at 22 or 23, which I don't know if I believe. Regardless, he's built like Ngannou. He has a good high kick. I don't know, man. I think he's a better version of Abdul Malik, who I was super high on until his last fight. He sort of shit the bed. However, Robert Valentin is no joke and is very dangerous. He has these tattoos like Gustafsson. Those Swedish forest people tattoos going on here. So, dude's dangerous. Unfortunately, his last fight sucked because he fought against Torres Finney, who held him up against the fence for that. It must have almost been a record. It was 12 or 13 minutes out of 15 minutes. But he was scrambling, causing damage. He's slippery. He's just running into the wrong guy. Atiba Gauthier is a genetic freak, and he seems to have a good poise about him, listens to his coaches, doesn't tire out. He cracked a Mexican's chin, which is hard to do. Even Mauricio Huffy couldn't do that. So he's able to do that. Freakish power, long legs. Valentin doesn't have much takedown. He's scrambly, weird on the feet, but I am pretty confident that Atiba Gauthier is going to get a knockout here. And he's out of Cameroon, yeah. So I'm going to go with Atiba Gauthier, round 1 or 2 knockout. He's probably going to get hit. Valentin is not bad. But this dude Atiba is a problem. To put it into minimal words, man. This guy is a problem. Genetic freak. And I also really like Dulatov, Atiba, knockout parlay, and Bruno. All right, moving up the card, we have the Argentinian Drew Dober, Francisco Prado. They look exactly the same. Moving up to welterweight, although he already did. Jake Matthews, he was a step behind every single minute of every round. But Jake Matthews is better than I thought. I got that prediction wrong. He's very well-rounded. and was a little bit bigger, faster, and better everywhere. Prado does have a very good chin. Look at him. Of course he does. And this guy over here from Kazakhstan does not. He gets finished in every fight. If you look at his regional fights, he gets all finishes. I have a hunch that this fight will not go the distance, which is pretty good odds. I've been struggling back and forth with who I think is going to win this fight. I'm going to trust in Prado's chin. He's due for a win. He has good cardio. He's a little bit small, but this guy's lost every single fight in the UFC, Nikolai. Every single fight. He's do or die, and I think Prado's chin holds up, maybe similar to Terrence McKinney versus Dober, and then breaks Nikolai in the second or third round. I'm going to go with Prado. Worried about this one, but yeah, I'm going to go with Francisco Prado. Ooh, very worried. During my live stream, I might change my pick. All right, moving up, we have a bad blood fight. I think this probably should have been on the main card, but it's not. We have Marvin, the Italian stallion, Vittori, who I think is very funny, to say the least. I mean, I think he also has the best chin in UFC history. Dude eats anything and everything for breakfast against Cannonier. Anyone. And he's fighting Brendan Allen, who absolutely hates him. They had a showdown in a casino, I don't know how long ago, 5-6 months ago, where Brendan Allen basically just threw a bunch of punches. I was going back and forth on this fight. I've ridden Brendan Allen in the past, when he was an underdog. I even picked him against Imavov, he showed 0 fight IQ, but he might have been tired, who knows. This is a 3-rounder. Vittori has no sting on his punches. I don't see him grappling Brendan Allen, and Brendan Allen has a bigger tool box on the feet. He'll probably lose round 3 after he gasses out punching Marvin's chin, but to say the least, I'm going to go with a Brendan Allen win in a mostly stand-up fight, 2-1 when it comes to rounds. So I'm going to go with Brendan Allen here via decision. Moving up to the main event of the prelims, we have Kyler Cut His Hair Phillips, best first-round fighter maybe ever, versus Vinicius. I love Vinicius Oliveira. Now, Vinicius is one of those guys on the Contender Series that I have backed in every fight. He's been an underdog against Said Nurmagomedov, Ricky Simone as well, I believe. Yes, and I picked him every fight. I mean, it seems like he gets tired in the first round, but then just does not ever get more tired. Crazy dangerous. He throws everything with killer intent. Can grapple, goes to the body, head, big guy, good chin. I think this is a nightmare matchup for Kyler Phillips. I love Vinicius. Kyler is very good in the first round, but tends to gas out. But Vinicius is a stone wall. I think he beats up Kyler Phillips, even maybe wins the first round, and then from there just tears him apart. I see Vinicius winning by knockout in round 2 or 3. We saw what Rob Font did to Kyler. I picked Rob Font in that fight. He was plus 480 or something crazy, and Rob Font picked him apart after the first 2 rounds. I think Vinicius is a bigger, stronger, more durable, faster version of Rob Font. Kyler needs to get his stamina in check, and I don't think he has. So I see Vinicius just taking over this fight as it goes on and winning, going with Vinicius Oliveira, who I love as a prospect. Okay, moving to the main card. The first fight is Michael the Menace Johnson, who's fighting on the same card as Porier. I think that's funny, considering he knocked out Porier. He's on a 2-fight win streak, I believe, as well, which is wild. But good for him, man. 24-19, your favorite fighter's favorite scrapper. Versus Ryan Garcia of the UFC, Daniel Zellhuber. I think Zellhuber gets a knockout here. He's younger, taller, faster, very good chin. We saw that during UFC Noche in the Sphere when he just would not quit and came back and did decent in one of my favorite fights ever. I think he is entering his prime. Good chin, good speed, good length, good tools, and I think he knocks out Michael the Menace Johnson here. Yeah, I just don't know if Michael Johnson's chin can hold up. Michael Johnson will be in it with the slick boxing. He's so fast and quick twitch, but, I mean, Zellhuber is going to take whatever he gives him and dish out something more punishing, like a head kick or some spinning long range against Bobby Green. Huffy versus Bobby Green is sort of how I see this fight going. So I'm going to go Daniel Zellhuber via knockout. Next up, we have Dan 50K Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. At first, I thought this fight was harder to break down. I think Patricio had a hard time out his last fight. This is a completely different matchup. However, his wins recently in Bellator have been subpar competition. He's 38 years old, and Dan Ige has been looking good. He came back against Lopez, knocked out Sean Woodson in his last fight, is a little bit taller. I think he pushes the pace. I possibly see a knockout here for Ige. I think he's a little bit more skilled. He can protect himself on the ground. I know Korean Zombie took him down a while ago, but Patricio is 38. So he has no more chances to just sit around, not throw strikes back. Dan Ige is good counter-striking and has proved himself in the UFC. I'm going to go with Dan Ige winning 2-1, or maybe knockout in the second or third round here. Patricio is too old, coming from Bellator, and Ige's on a streak. These UFC guys are going to continue to show the Bellator guys there is levels. Moving up the card, we have Kevin Trailblazer Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez is very overrated. He's old. Holland is just on a tear. I always thought this about Holland's career. He doesn't care if he wins or loses, but if he did, which it seems like he is starting to care, he could go pretty far, especially in 170. He has grappling, striking, stamina, chin, everything. Fights like his life depends on it. Scrambles, talks the whole fight. And I think he really found a home here at 170. I saw him submit Luque live, and I think he does the same here. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland's submission. He outpieces Rodriguez. Rodriguez does not have enough power to finish Holland. Rodriguez is over the hill. He was never that good. He got gifted a robbery against the Leech after the suit incident, which I'll never forget. Very confident. Holland wins easily. Submission is going to be my low-key pick, but regardless, Holland is going to win this fight. Now, on to the co-main event. We have Paulo Boharchinia Costa, Special Juice versus Roman Kopylov. Now, I told you I was not going to go with any underdogs, and I've been picking Kopylov since this fight was first scheduled before it was canceled. However, I am going to change my pick to Paulo Costa. I think Kopylov will start fast, but fall victim to Costa's pressure, sort of like Vettori, or not fluffy. And I also think Costa will use his grappling skills, which Kopylov is so inept. I mean, it's like when the guy gets taken down, it's especially after the first round when he starts to run out of stamina, he runs into massive problems. Now his output is very high, but Chris Curtis gave him problems in the second round, and Costa is a bigger version when it comes to sort of the boxing stance of Chris Curtis. And I think if Costa is able to pressure Kopylov against the fence, we see the Costa of old. You know, he looks dialed in, a little bit too dialed in, but who knows. Much bigger, almost the same height when I watch the face-offs. I think Costa, as a decently sized underdog, has the potential to pressure Kopylov, land those body shots, and it's going to come down to a takedown or two. I think Costa needs to go for a takedown. He went for a takedown against Vettori, which is a good sign. Originally started as a grappler and a black belt. I don't know how real the black belt is, but a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to go with Paulo Costa to pressure win 2-1, 29-28 decision here against Kopylov, who tends to gas out. That is my underdog pick. I have to go with one. I was picking Kopylov the whole week, but we're switching it. Costa back against the wall. Only lost to amazing fighters except for Vettori. It's going to get the dub. And finally, we have Max Blessed Halloway versus Dustin Porier. This is the third time they are fighting. Obviously, Dustin won the first two. The first one I don't really count. They were so early in their career. The second one was sort of similar to how I think this fight is going to go. However, there's going to be a slight flip in the script, aka Halloway is going to win a decision in my mind. Last fight, Holloway moved up, but I don't really believe he moved up. It was his first fight, sort of at 155, a little bit smaller, didn't really put on that size. This time it's different. Halloway has stated he is sticking at 155. He's really bulked up. The last time he did that was against Gaethje, and we all saw how that happened. I know people will say that Holloway's spinning back kick to the nose affected Gaethje for the rest of the fight. I agree with that. However, Halloway looked amazing. He's improving. He is forming new skill sets. The fight that I go to decide this one is Holloway's fight versus Arnold Allen. The fact that he won that against who I rate very highly, Arnold Allen, I think he's sort of similar to Dustin. So that's why I'm going to be picking Max Holloway for the main event. Very close fight. Probably decision. Dustin's looking skinnier. I don't think that's the move. I think he should probably have stayed where he was at, body fat and body weight, which he hasn't. And Halloway has had time to bulk up. He's not going to get knocked out like he did against Porier. He was 145, and he is at that age where he needs to move up in weight. Great fight. Hopefully Lil Wayne has a great walkout song. I'm going to go with Max blessed Holloway here via decision, probably 3-2. We're going to see a banger. And unfortunately, Dustin is going to retire with a loss. Let's go Max blessed Holloway for the win. All right, those are my official predictions. Not super confident in a couple of them, but our streak is hopefully going to come back alive. We're pretty decent at picking. I think I see a lot of finishes. Atiba, Gautier, Dulatov, Bruno, maybe a couple more. We'll do live picks during my stream. Tune in. I stream every fight card. And thank you for watching. Hopefully we go positive for the third week in a row. And we continue on. Those are my picks for this card. Excited. The card was, in my opinion, not the best, but then as I broke it down, I saw the matchups. I got excited about it. I think we're going to get a lot of finishes. The fights are going to be good. There's great prospects. I'll see you guys on the stream. Those are my picks and predictions. Hopefully we get them right. See you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.